All right. Let's get my business updated here, and let's check my vocal levels. Mic check, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Let's check my vocal levels. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. All right, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to drop that down there. Hey guys, let me fix my screen here real fast so y'all can see what it is that we're going to get into today. 1 second here while I fix. There we go. Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, new 2024 rules. I'm a big Magic the Gathering enthusiast. I'm a big fan of color mana. Hold on, my lighting is a little weird. I started creating content on the DMsGuild back in 2018 after the release of the Ravnica campaign setting for Magic the Gathering. And they didn't provide any color mechanics, so I got to work and built out the 5-color mana spell point variant rule system. It's here on DMsGuild. You can click the link. It all has free previews, so I mean you can read the entire thing, book to cover to cover, all these books. And it's a system that redefines Magic in the 5e game engine to use the Magic the Gathering color mana system. So this hasn't been revised for 2024 yet. This is still using the 2014 rules, but I will be next year, once we finish the Ebron adventure that I'm working on. We're going to be going through and rebuilding all of this to use the new 5e2 for game balance and spell update. But the color mana system is basically, it's a spell point system. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So color, like a spell is assigned a color based on the 5 colors of magic: white, blue, black, red, green. And here's some different descriptors for things that can roughly describe what each of these colors are all about in the D&D game engine, and the different types of damage that can be dealt using D&D. Bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing aren't devoted to any specific color, but if you look at Magic the Gathering cards, you'll see that almost everything that has something to do with acid is black or green magic. Anything that has to do with radiant is generally white magic. Anything with necrotic is generally black magic. Lightning, fire, thunder, force. These are red magic, but force is also white and blue energy. Poison, black and green, kind of like acid. So taking this combination of the aspects of magic and what types of damage are devoted to each color, we can create a color mana spell list. Cantrips don't cost any mana, but they still have a color identity, just like monsters will have a color identity, like a basilisk is green, for instance. So there are color identities that exist throughout the game, whether they are powered by mana or not. And so once you, like for example, let's go to Lightning Bolt. We know Lightning Bolt is a red spell. It's a 3rd level red spell, so it costs 3 mana to cast it. One of those points is red. The other 2 points can be whatever you want. If you're a mono red caster, then all of your mana is red, and you effectively don't have any color because it's all the same color. Who cares? But if you are like an Azet caster who has a blend of red and blue spells, like if you wanted Fly, that's a blue and green spell, and Lightning Bolt is red. So if you wanted to play Azet with blue and red magic, then you could easily have Fly and Lightning Bolt on your spell list. You diversify your pool of mana. Each point of mana that you have, you devote it to a color, and when you're out of that color, you can't cast that color anymore until you get more mana back. When you take a long, like full casters, when you take a long rest, you get all your mana back. And when you take a short rest, sometimes you get mana back, sometimes you don't, depending on what you are. But anytime you take a short or a long rest, whether you get mana back or not, you can shuffle the colors. So like today, maybe I have 1 red and 2 blue. Maybe tomorrow I have all red. Maybe after this short rest, I have 2 points left, let's put them both in blue, or whatever. So you can swap that around anytime you take a rest, or anytime you gain mana from an ability, like the Warlock has an immediate, like a 1 hour, it's like a 1 minute recovery ritual to get spell points back in 2024. When you get those points back, you then decide what color they are. So that's the basics of how spellcasting works, and all the specific mechanics of them are already published in this book. But we also have a playtest document that we're using. If you want to check it out, it's going to be read only for you, but you can read the entire thing. It has the martial power system up front, and then at the back end, it has rebuilt all of the classes and subclasses for casters using the new 2024 rules, and we'll be integrating like the Artificer and the revisions to the Bard and all that stuff. We'll be integrating all that into the document once we rebuild it for 2024. So if you want to check this out and tag along with me today, the Martial Powers plus Color Mana playtest document is here. And I'm going to drop this, I'm going to drop my page down here just to get it out of the way. And here is, so what is Martial Powers? What does this have to do with Martial Powers? So there's going to be 14 classes, and 8 of them use mana. They're like either full casters or half casters. So this color mana system makes sense for those. But then there's the martials, the barbarian, the fighter, the monk, the rogue. So there's 10 casters. There's the half casters, and then there's the full casters, but they all use magic. Then there's like Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster, and they have their own book, and they also get color mana. But that leaves out all the other fighters, the barbarian, the monk, and all other rogues that aren't Arcane Tricksters. So they can't use mana, but in an MTG setting, everything is built on colors of magic and mana. So me being a martial fighter without magic effects, like I could have a color identity, but it doesn't really have any kind of mechanical ramifications. And I'm also a big fan of the 3rd edition Tome of Battle, which was a mana system for martials to be able to use powers just like spellcasters could cast spells. That was an amazing book. As soon as it published, our table immediately integrated it and used it for a good 7 years after that. Martial Powers was such a cool addition to 3E. And then we lost that in 5E, and Wizards isn't doing anything with color mana, so we published the color mana books, and now we're circling back around, and we're rebuilding the Tome of Battle, the spirit of Tome of Battle, into the 5E game mechanics and character design and sensibilities, and using the mana system that we already have built for the spellcasters, and now those can be used to spend points to channel different powers, and you can have a color identity with mana that has color that means something now. So that will allow once the Scion publishes, all 14 classes can now use mana as their resource that they're built around. So we've been playtesting a mega dungeon from level 3 through 9, and that's pretty much concluded. So this is a good time for me to jump back into the document and recalibrate things to make changes that I've seen that need to happen. So again, if you check the playtest link down in the description, you can jump into this document. It'll be read only for you, but you can read the whole thing. And if you want to start experimenting with these ideas, you can join my Discord server, which is also linked down below. Let's see. So the martial power structure is, hey Steve, it's good to see you. So the basic framework of how martial powers works, it uses the half casting progression that the Artificer, Paladin, and Ranger use, but instead it uses a short rest mana, which is the same progression as the Monk's Key has. 1 point per level, 20 by 20th level, regain it on a short rest, and we also have we have all the rules of how this stuff works, but one of the other mechanics that we have is empowered actions. So in addition to having a mana pool, which is obviously minuscule at first level, like how are you supposed to really do anything at first level with that? It's like, well, you can't do a lot. However, Empowered Actions allows you to sacrifice action economy to generate temporary mana. And that mana could be any color. So you don't have to worry about your color pool when you're generating mana. It's just assumed it's automatically going to be the color that you need to do the thing. But you can sacrifice your action economy to gain extra mana. You can sacrifice your reaction to gain 1 point. You can sacrifice your bonus action, and depending on what level, what your max rank of power is, or like if you're a multi-class channeler, like your paladin level, your ranger level, your fighter level, your barbarian level, your rogue level, your monk level, these all stack. So like if I'm 5 monk, 6 fighter, I'm an 11th level multi-class channeler, and I still gain my progression. I'd be 11th level. That would give me access to that would allow me to channel 3 mana at a time. But as only a 5th and 6th level characters, I can only prepare 2nd or 1st rank powers. But I can spend 3 mana on them, and almost all of the powers in the book scale with mana. So it rewards multi-classing. If you wanted to take 3 of monk, paladin, ranger, rogue, artificer up through 18 levels, you could do that and you would still get access to 5 mana at 17th level, but you would only be able to channel that 5 mana with first rank powers. But almost all the first rank powers allow you to upcast to 5 mana. So it's really generous in multi-classing. It encourages you to take martial and full casting classes, because the full casters are getting a lot of mana as a battery on a long rest, and the marshals are getting small amounts of mana that they can recycle on short rests, and when channeling powers can do them by sacrificing action economy. When you sacrifice action economy, the mana that's generated you keep until the beginning of your next turn, and then it gets dumped. So if you wanted to sacrifice, say, a 5th level fighter, let's say a 9th level fighter, or say an 11th level fighter that can channel up the 3rd rank power, could sacrifice its bonus action to gain 2 temporary points of mana. And at 11th level, a fighter has 3 attacks. You could sacrifice all 3 of those attacks to gain 4 points of mana. And then you have a reaction. And when you use your reaction, say you're planning on using your reaction for something you want to have a lot of mana, so you dumped all of your action economy during your round and say, no, I'm good, I'll wait, because you know, like you know that the marshal is going to give you a command that allows you to use your reaction to move half your speed and attack, like the new Banneret in the Forgotten Realms book. You can as a bonus action, you can command an ally to move half their distance or half their move speed and then attack something. So you get to move for free and make an attack with your reaction, and you have 4 mana that you're sitting on. So like you just spend a point of mana to ramp the attack roll that you get, and then you can use the other 3 mana, since 3 mana is your max use at 11th levels, your maximum amount of mana you can channel. You then dump all that into a 1st rank strike to do extra dice of damage and some sort of kicker effect, like stun them or entangle them, like restrain them, or gain temporary hit points from that hit with lifesteal strike, stuff like that. So you can sacrifice your action economy, so you will never run out of mana. You just might have to reduce what you do during your turn to get it. So you don't need this short rest mana prevents you from nova bursting on something like full casters can, because full casters do big AoE control and massive damage and massive damage hits. The martial classes are able to use their mana and action economy to consistently every round of combat use a low cost mana ability to ramp your ramp your D20 tests, your damage, give you condition modifiers, limited use options, alternate modes of movement, and these are all listed here in the document. Now that we've finished our playtesting in the mega dungeon that we ran from level 3 to 10. It was 3 to 9, and when they hit the end of the 9th level, that's when we stopped. So it's technically 3 to 9. Sorry. The playtest was level 3 through 9. And we just finished that up last weekend. I usually play test on Saturdays, which is why I normally don't stream on Saturdays, because since April, we've been running Martial Powers playtesting. Now that that's done, we can go back into the book here and make some adjustments to the powers. There's some synergies that were too strong. There were some powers that turned out to be OP. And there's ways that we can manipulate class options here to make things synchronize a little bit better. Because every time we run a playtest, it gets better. We get access to more things. We get to see more combinations. We get to see how different classes play, and it irons itself out to be able to be. That's what playtesting does. It resolves. It takes your idea and figures out if it works or not, and what do you need to change about it to make it work. So you get a power die. The power die determines what type of it's like a bardic inspiration die, superiority die, martial arts die. It's like all of those things. The monk uses the martial arts die instead of the power die. So the power die, it's like if I spend a point of mana to deal extra damage, I would roll an extra d6. So at first level it's a d6, at level 9 it's a d8, and at level 17 it's a d10. This doesn't, you can do almost anything that the bardic inspiration can do, but you're not as good at it as the bard is. And in this system, the bard can sacrifice spell points, and you get a shitload of spell points, and can sacrifice your spell points to gain extra inspiration. So you could play a martial bard by taking your entire mana pool and just spending it on bardic inspiration, and then like multi-class, like take 1 or 2, maybe 3 level dip into a martial class, and then 17 levels as a bard. You would have a mana pool of 3 from the temporary mana here that you get back on short rest. And then the 17th level bard, I think, would have, I think he has 65 mana on a long rest, and has 9th level capabilities. Martial powers, but martial power, you'd only be able to channel 1 mana as a 3rd level fighter, because martial powers and spellcasting don't blend at all. They, like a fighter doesn't gain any spellcasting levels unless he's an Eldritch Knight. Similarly, full casters don't gain any levels of channeling. They have to multi-class into a martial or a half-casting class to get access to it. But once they do, your mana pools mix. So that 65 points of mana that the bard has, you could use that to dump into martial powers, but only 1 point at a time. So you can spam shit all day, and you can sacrifice your action economy to do those things. But since you're multi-classing into a spellcasting heavy, you get this small battery of options and feats and movement modes and stuff, anything that a first rank caster can use, and still be a full caster. Or you could take like the paladin can use both, the half casters can use both powers and spells, and they also work on the short rest mana system, and they can use action economy to generate. And that action economy to generate is only during combat, but the half casters can use that generated action economy to cast their spells while in combat. So while you're still ticking initiative, they could sacrifice action economy to generate mana to then use to cast spells that they know, or to channel powers, either way. And the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster, when they get access to spells, they can all, after a while, not initially, but once they gain like 7th and 9th level respectively, they can then channel, they can sacrifice action economy to generate mana that they can use to cast spells. But again, only in combat. And the DM controls whether you're on initiative or not. But while you're in combat, you could be sacrificing your action economy to expand the use of your mana pool. Full casters would never be able to do that. So there's real advantages into the martials and the half casters, and there's obvious advantages for the spell casting, but this is designed to drastically reduce the martial caster divide that is rampant and talked about all the time on Reddit and forums, that exists in the D20 game, well, in D&D in general since first edition. Once those casters start ramping up in levels, it's an exponential growth over what the martials can do, but they were supposed to be incredibly weak and had to specifically choose how many times they would memorize Fireball today. So they would have to break up their spell pool into specific spells And if I have too many lightning bolts today, well then that means I can't cast Tensor's Floating Disc. So cheers. But introducing this as a parallel system, kind of like Psionics back in 2nd edition. They were both magic systems, but they didn't interact with each other at all. Like Detect Magic wouldn't notice Psionics. Detect Psionics wouldn't notice Magic. They completely didn't interact with each other. This has a similar divide between powers and spells, but the half-casters can use them both and blend them together. So there's definite advantages to taking. Those are your basically the 2 lanes or the middle road of both. There's massive advantages on all of them, and the playtesting that we've been doing is really showing that the full casters really excel if they stay in their lane with control and AoE effects. That's where they can really make, like when they have to concentrate and maintain their mana for extended periods of time to do ongoing effects. That's where full casters really shine the most, and the amount of power that we can kick out as marshals using strikes and maneuvers and exploits, we can really focus, like it really focuses down single targets. Like when you're attacking things one at a time, you can drill through them by using mana just to punch through their hit points. And you can get decent combats to whittle down to 3 or 4 rounds of combat and still be pretty effective. It just depends on how, aggressive the team wants to be on expending mana. And we can get about 20 rounds of combat per short rest, which is 4 rounds. So if you have 1 short rest per day per long rest, so there's supposed to be like 8 encounters in general that require you to spend resources. So if we translate that either as combat rounds or each trap that you spring or hazard that you deal with, that counts as a round of combat, because you may have to expend resources or something to deal with whatever the hazard or the damage is or whatever. So about 20 rounds worth of danger to your characters is about where you should be pacing for a short rest, and then 40 per long rest. And in a 3.5 hour game, we were able to consistently get anywhere from 16 to 24 rounds of combat and exploration and dealing with traps and stuff like that. But actual time spent in initiative, on average about 20 for a 3.5 hour block. And at the end of it, they would want a short rest so they could get their mana supplies back, because they would, over the course of that 20 rounds, they would completely they blow their entire load, and now they're on fumes, sacrificing reactions and bonus actions to fuel their attacks to get through the fight. And the full casters, they have to rely on cantrips because they'll burn through their full pool doing area of effect stuff, worrying about concentration being dinged, just normal combat stuff. So it actually, as intended, this system allows marshals and casters to pace 40 rounds of combat per long rest, and it actually pans out really well. So if you have 1 short rest and then you have a long rest, short rest, long rest, short rest, long rest, 20 rounds of combat, 20 rounds of combat, and then you can take your rest. It's a very reliable. It's been very, very reliable on pacing out throughout the game. So right. So I think I've probably explained enough about the basics of the system. It's been a long time since I've talked to you guys about the system, so I'm enjoying it. Thanks for letting me ramble like this. There's 8 schools of magic. There's 5 colors of magic in Magic the Gathering. There's 5 disciplines of powers in martial powers, and they're broken down into exploits, which modify actions and dice rolls. Maneuvers, which are actions and bonus actions that you can take. Reactions are triggered by various circumstances. Strikes are channeled when you hit with a weapon. And when I say weapon, that also includes unarmed attacks and natural weapons. Like if you're a Minotaur, you could just go in with fists and horns and use everything in this book. You don't have to be armed to do this stuff. Ranged attacks can also use these strike powers, kind of like they're very similar to Paladin Smites, but you don't do as much damage when you use ranged. And Paladins, when they use melee, deal extra dice of damage and a larger damage die than what archers or ranged attacks would do. Thrown weapons use normal, because those are melee weapons that are being thrown.
Yeah, it's the actual ranged weapons, like ammunition weapons, that they can still use all these powers, but the die is a smaller die. So instead of like being a D6 damage when you're using a strike power with a bow, it would have to be within normal range, and it would be using a D4 instead of a D6. And if you take like a martial and power initiate, channeling initiate. To gain access to a power, kind of like if a full caster wanted to spend a feat to get access to a power that they wanted, so they could spend their mana pool like on an armor class boost or something like that, or a speed boost, or like an attack roll modifier. They could take a feat, get access to one power, and then they could spend their mana pool on that. But they would be rolling D4s, not D6s, because they're not actually a channeler. They'll use a very small die, but they can basically bless themselves. They could get a power that would allow them to basically cast bless on themselves. So there you go, same kind of idea. So I have a lot of thoughts about different things I want to play with. I'm just going to kind of dance around inside the document. I have two of them that are open here, so I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to kick past the rules about how to play and get into the actual list of martial powers. And I'm going to take this other document and I'm going to swing that down. And hey, Hornetico, it's good to see you, man. I'm going to take this second open document and kick down here to the Barbarian. So when I make modifications to powers over here, I can drop down. If I know it's going to affect a particular class, I'll have the second tab open so I can go mess around with those classes. Like, for example, the Barbarian. Like everyone else, you get the Rage feature and stuff like that. You get your Rage bonus, and you still have the same power die as everyone else, D6, D8, D10. You have the same mana pool, 1 to 20. We gave, for the playtesting, the prep powers, we gave as many prepared powers as basically full casters have spells. But it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm thinking about trimming that down to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think something like that. Because I want to see the next playtest that we do, I want to have less powers and see how that affects the decision making. Because with like we went through level 9, that's 12 powers, and one of the powers you can take is to reduce the cost of another power. And so I think if I had reduced this down to something more like 8 powers instead of 12, there wouldn't be as much budget available to have as many powers and to buy down and to reduce the cost of those powers. So I think I need to restrict the amount of free-floating powers because you're going to get 10 free powers with your subclass at level 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 9, 13, 17. You get 2 bonus powers per level. So you'll end up with 10 automatically from your subclass and then your pool here. So I think I'm going to open up a notepad here, because what I think I want to do is I want to start with 4 because the fighting styles and weapon masteries have been folded into the power system. So you can choose to gain fighting styles as powers. So like if I could prepare 4 powers, I could prepare 4 different fighting styles from the fighting style feats if I wanted to. Or I could prepare 4 weapon masteries. And with this system, if a martial is proficient with weapon, you can automatically use the weapon mastery that's associated with that weapon. So like heavy crossbow has the push mastery. I don't have to know the push mastery to be able to use the push mastery when I'm firing a heavy crossbow. I can just use that. But if I prepared Vex and I hit you with a heavy crossbow and I don't want to push you, I could then apply the Vex mastery instead if I wanted to, because I prepared the Vex mastery. And obviously, there's obviously some limitations on how some of these, like the Nick property, for instance. I can just learn Nick, but I can only use it with unarmed attacks, natural weapons, and then light weapons. But that allows me to use Nick as a brawler and not have to be armed, because my unarmed attacks and natural like a Minotaur's horns is a natural weapon. They're all considered to be light weapons for you. And they can also be used as finesse weapons if you want to, because you could be a dex brawler or you could be a strength brawler. That's going to be your choice. But you would also then be able to use the Nick Mastery with that, so you can squeeze in that extra elbow, or that extra Nick with the horn if you wanted to, or that extra cloven hoof kick. You can squeeze that in as a brawler because you have prepared your marshal to be an unarmed or a weapon-free combatant. So, and since these are these unarmed attacks and stuff like that, they're all considered just like normal weapons. Like you can smite with them. Any feat or spell, they're considered to be light weapons of either BPS and have a value of at least 10 gold pieces for the, like, if I wanted to cast like Thunderlance or something by punching somebody, then I won't need a weapon to do that. I can just use my fist to do it because it counts as a weapon of 10 gold piece value or more. So there's like little quality of life things there that let you build a brawler the way that you want to, whether they're armed with a weapon or just natural attacks. So that's why I want to make sure we start with 4. That way we have enough budget for us to get our fighting styles, weapon masteries, like 1 fighting style, 2 weapon masteries, and then I still have something open that I could take as like a sustained power or a strike power or a maneuver or an exploit, something to kick me off. And then from there, I'm just sitting steady. So 4 at first for sure. I'm gonna do this. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we'll just do that, since we're developing here anyway. So we know we're going to start with 4, and then what? 5. I want to start with 4, and I want to get to 15, because that's the pacing that basically Rangers and Paladins have, plus the 10 bonus powers that we're going to get from our subclass over the course of 17 levels. So, and hey to folks that are hanging out there, appreciate you guys being here. So 15, I think probably 15 can, let's see if I can reverse this down and get to where we want to be. 11 at 11th, 10 and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 is a miss. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. No, it has to be 9, 9, 8, 8. Let me double check real quick. It's been a while since I've looked, so let me go look at the Paladin. I'm going to look at the Paladin and the Barbarian, the Paladin and the Ranger. It's been a while since I've looked, so I want to look at their progression again. Prepared spells for a Paladin is 15. 15, 15, 14, 14, 12, 12. That's really weird. 9, 9, 7, 7. Okay, so they're... Interesting. Okay, well, I don't feel nearly as bad then. I need to have more at first, again, because of what we talked about, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 15, 14, 14, 10, 10, 9. Okay, great. 9, 9, 7, 7. It's so weird that they skip like that. 6, 6. Okay, well, I don't feel bad at all anymore, so that's great. So let's carry on, my wayward son. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15. Okay. 7, 8, and where are these dudes by 5th and 6th level? 6. At 5th level, they only have 6, which is perfect because the Paladin gets a fighting style and gets 2 masteries. So that would be 9. So that's close enough. That's close enough. 8. At 8th level, we have 9. They have 7. Yeah, that actually paces pretty well. Same thing with the Ranger. They get hold on. Let's see. They get it's not even listed on here. Hold on. Weapon mastery. There it is. Scroll down to their weapon mastery. Do they get 2 of them? Yeah, 2 kinds of weapons of your choice. You would only have the budget for 1, but again, any weapon that you pick up, you can automatically use the mastery for that weapon. So technically, you already know all of the masteries. You just have to swap weapons around like we already do, but they aren't taxing you with a bullshit prep feature that doesn't mean, like in 5. I know they didn't cook this long enough, because if they had played it as much as I play it quickly realized we should just be giving you weapon masteries and allowing you to prepare masteries to use with other weapons so that you actually have true versatility and actual tactical decisions. It's like, no, you would just use Vex all the time. It's like, no, that's not true. In our playtesting, we'd have people that would use 3 or 4 different types of masteries during a combat, just depending on what they needed to do. When you use a mastery, it's considered like a cantrip, where a strike power is considered a spell. You can't cast a cantrip and a spell at the same time. Similarly, when you hit with a weapon, you can either channel a strike power with mana, or you can use a weapon mastery for free. You're either using a cantrip for free or a strike with spell points. So it has that Gishy divide there. And then there's the martial strike power, which allows you to spend mana, and it doesn't do anything other than increase damage and allow you to use a weapon mastery with it. So if you learn the martial strike, and like the Ranger gets it for free, the Paladin gets it for free. So you can automatically spend mana to do a strike power to deal extra dice of damage and still use your weapon mastery on top of it. But if instead I wanted to use, like, say, life-stealing strike, instead of using a weapon mastery, I can roll my power dice. That's how much damage I deal, and that's how many temporary hit points I also get back. But that's a second rank power, so it requires at least 2 mana for you to do it. So you'd like roll, like at 5th level, you'd roll 2d6. That's the extra damage that you're going to deal for your 2 mana, but it also gives you 2 points. It gives you 2d6 temporary mana. And if you're able to use that consistently, like if you sacrifice your bonus action and your second attack at 5th level, you would always be able to use a life-stealing strike for free. The kicker for the martial strike is that instead of, like, say, doing a d6 at 5th level, it uses a larger die, up to a d12. So, at 5th level, I could use martial strike. I would do an extra 2d8 damage and be able to use a mastery of my choice. So a lot of times, using martial strike, if you're just going for damage, martial strike is your best option, and it has the benefit of allowing you to use a weapon mastery. All the other strikes, the life-stealing strike, the crippling strike, blah, 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 whatever, a repositioning strike, all of them, they'll use the lower d6 die and the specific option that, like burning strike catches people on fire and they burn until they put themselves out. A caustic strike does either acid or poison damage, and it does that damage again next turn at the beginning of the target's turn. So it has residual damage. Like, those are its kicker effects, while the martial strike's kicker effect is add a mastery to it. And whatever mastery the weapon has or that you have prepared, your choice. And we have 13 different masteries, which we'll look at. This ends up balancing out. Them having 1 less mastery, like they get the fighting style and they get the 2 weapon masteries at level 1 compared, and 6 spells. Sorry, they get 2 spells at 1st level, and they get 2 weapon masteries, and then they get a fighting style. So we give you, so this would be 2. Yeah, you get essentially at 2nd level, we have 5. So you'd have your 3 spells, you'd have your fighting style, you could prepare a weapon mastery, and you're going to lose a prepared weapon mastery, but you can use weapon masteries of all weapons, so it actually, you still end up ahead. And it paces along with where they think the Paladin and Ranger should be at. So I think I'm actually pretty happy with this. We ramp up a little bit. Yeah, I think we ramp a little bit. I mean, it ends up all being the same 15-15 at the end. So I think that's where we need to take this. I've saved this document multiple times on my PC, so I don't need to worry about losing these original ideas, but I do want to go in and make those changes. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. This is where we're going to be for the next playtesting. 9, 9, 10. And I can update the full document when you guys aren't looking. This will give us less options. So the flexibility that they had in how many things that, again, one of the options that you have is called efficient power. You basically prepare the power twice, and it reduces the amount of mana that you have to spend to channel that power. So you could pick, like, if you had 12 powers, you could pick 6 powers and then reduce the cost of all of them. And if it's a first rank power, you reduce it down to basically 0 cost. It basically becomes a cantrip. You can't use that on strikes because that's free damage, and it starts to stack up after a while. So you have to kind of kibosh that. But exploits, reactions, and maneuvers, they can have you can reduce the cost of mana of those. So if you go if you get into a lot of if you get into like being like a commander style, like a warlord style with lots of maneuvers and exploits that allow you to ramp action economy of your allies by sacrificing your own or your mana, then this would you could buy down, if all you're using are first rank options, then you can basically buy them all down to be for free. It would just cost whatever action economy it is to activate the power, but you don't have to actually spend any mana out of your pool. So you can actually make incredibly effective warlords, which is which like the battle master or whatever, like, oh, this warlord commander class is something that people keep aching for. But with this system, it's a selection of powers that you can prepare daily. And so you could be a warlord when you need to be, or you could be a fast striker when you need to be. When you gain a level, you can swap all of your powers, and every time you finish a long rest, you can swap one. And that's what I do with bards and sorcerers and warlocks. It's all of them. It's you can unless you can change all your spells, like the druid, the cleric, and the wizard can change all of their spells whenever they finish a long rest. Everyone else can only change their spells when they gain a level. But I also like to add in, anytime you finish a long rest, you can change one of your spells. So you can slowly evolve your character over the course of the campaign to better match up with what you're facing. And then whenever you gain a level, you can swap everything out. And then you can slowly resculpt to wherever the adventure is taking you. So taking time and doing research during downtime to know where you're heading next and what kind of obstacles you might face gives you insight. So while you're taking your downtime rest, you can start swapping out your prepared power list to match what you're expecting to encounter in the future. That just encourages your players to take downtime so they can swap their spell pool, right? Like if your sorcerer could spend a week and swap out 7 spells on their list, and you know you're going to go fight undead in a cemetery, you might have a selection of spells that you might pick that are different from if you're going to go fight sky pirates on airships. Like, you would have time to prepare for that and swap your spell selection to be able to synchronize better with what your next mission is. And like if you're playing like a Bastion campaign where you have one adventure per week and a Bastion turn is each week, then when you start your next adventure, it's like, okay, go ahead and swap 7 of your prepared powers or 7 of your prepared spells, because it's a new week and we'll have time to adapt. So here's the adventure you're going to go on. Select your powers, just like a wizard would pick your spells for the day. For this week, these will be the powers that you'll have to face the mission that you have. And when you're done, you come back to base and you have your next Bastion turn. Okay, we're going to head out and we're going to fight Space Kaijus now. Swap out your powers so that you know what you want to have. You can re-kit yourself to meet the challenge that you're going to face. It's better. It's just better pacing. It's better tempo, and it helps to further reduce the divide between marshals and casters, because you can adapt your capabilities to be a marshal or be a fast striker or to be a tank or to be a controller or a sniper or stealthily. You can kit things out to be able to match the mission that you need to go on. So a lot of fun there. So, but yeah, this is good. I like this realignment. I'm really happy with that. Another thing, so I'm just going through details and talking about stuff as it comes along. So this is a list of all, and again, this document is available. Well, hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me. This document is right here. It'll be read only for you. But that is the document that I'm editing. And if you want to join in playtesting, I'll have more playtesting in December after Thanksgiving. Here's the link to my Discord community. Be welcome to jump in and just say hi and stir up, just kick some dirt around and have fun with us. Let's see, Empower, Overrun. Okay, yeah, so disciplines are broken down into exploits. Another detail, just since we're here, 4th rank, it only goes up to 4th rank, which means that you'll have access to all of the powers by 13th level. Most Wizards of the Coast campaigns end by 15th level. So this means that you'll have access to all the toys in the system during the course of, like, say, Descent into Avernus. By 17th level, you'll be a 5th rank caster or can channel 5 mana. So you'll be able to and again, most of these things can be upcast to 5 mana, even though none of them actually cost more than 4 themselves. That also aligns with the fighter, the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster only having access up to 4th level spells. They gain their spells at the same rate as they gain powers on the half casting progression. So by 13th level, they get access to their 4th level spells, and they won't get 5th level spells. But they'll still be able to spend 5 mana in total. That's an unorthodox approach to 5e. It's still the 5e game engine. It just stops at 4 at 13th, which we currently don't have any examples of. Instead, they give you that weird off shift, level 1, 7, level 3, 7, 13, and 19. It's not helpful. 4th level spells by 19th level sucks. You're basically at 13th level, you're never going to get past 3rd level spells, which is kind of nice, but 4th level is better. So that's why I wanted to go with this progression. Okay, so something that I want to do is I want to change, and so we have all these powers that cost mana up front. And then we have the meta powers, which is combat masteries, and there are 8 combat masteries, and we added 4 more. And here they all are. We got rid of Impair because it was OP. Being able to blind or deafen somebody is like blinding somebody is effectively turning invisible. So you can't turn invisible as a cantrip. It's too much action economy. So we had to get rid of Impair. But yeah, they're all in here. Like Graze, like people talk about like Graze is a shit thing to have on your weapon because it's only fail dependent. But if you allow your marshals to prepare masteries and you want to use that heavy crossbow to push, but you missed, if you prepared Graze, you could just deal your attack ability modifier and weapon damage. So you're always guaranteed to like do your dexterity damage or your strength damage or whatever stat it is that you're dealing damage with your weapon attacks. I recommend preparing Graze because it guarantees you're going to do damage every round, every time you attack, whether you hit or not. And when you do hit, then you get to decide, am I just going to let this slide and not ramp it, or do I want to spend mana to deal even more damage? And of course, when you crit, any mana that you spend to ramp the damage on your dice, just like with Paladin Smite, that also doubles. The Rogue has a cool trick where instead of dealing sneak attack damage, you could instead do a strike up to your maximum rank. So like a 17th level Rogue could deal 9d6 damage on a sneak attack, or could do 5 mana worth of a strike power, which is 5d10 damage plus whatever your strike effect is. And if you're using Martial Strike with a weapon mastery as a rogue on a sneak attack, it would be 5d12 damage, which is 60 damage, which is the same damage that a rogue would do with a sneak attack, 6d10 or 5d12. It's 60 or 60, one way or the other at maximum damage. It's all the same. So it actually works out really nicely. But this is these options are listed after the mana costs. But at low levels, your character doesn't have a lot of mana to buy shit. So what I want to do is rearrange the document so that the meta powers that are cantrip effects are in front of the actual powers. So I'm going to cut those. And I'm going to go to the top. Martial powers, channeling effects, kicker costs, temporary mana, empowered actions, types of powers, meta powers, disrupting, dismissing powers, damage resilience, forced movement, affecting gargantuan creatures, list of martial powers. There we go. So we have 129 disciplines, which actually cost mana, and we have 79 meta powers. So I'm going to put the meta powers first because they don't actually cost any mana. Mini powers don't require mana. You can prepare combat masteries, feats, and alternate damage types instead of discipline powers. I don't need to have that. Combat masteries is powers. Modified weapon masteries for martial characters. So the combat masteries are 0 mana strike effects that include all weapon masteries and additional combat masteries. You can choose any number of combat masteries as part of your prepared power list. When you prepare a combat mastery, you can apply the effects to any weapon you are proficient with, unless the description indicates otherwise. You can use one combat mastery at a time, and combat masteries cannot be used when channeling a strike power, unless a feature specifies otherwise, such as the Paladin Strike feature or the Martial Strike power. Such as and like the Ranger subclasses, like the Fey Wanderer. When you hit with a strike power, you can automatically like if you hit with Beguiling Strike, you can also use either Vex or what's it called? Vex or was it slow? Sap. Yeah, that's it. Either Vex or Sap. Like when you use the Beguiling Strike, you can use Vex or Sap as a mastery plus Beguiling Strike. The Ranger has a number of things like that. Rangers are really fun. Rangers get a lot. They're really fucking great snipers, but they're really great brawlers too. So this helps give, in my opinion, this helps give Ranger actually a better identity. But you should play test it yourself and find out if you agree or not. So yeah, we're putting these front. You can also, instead of preparing a power, you can prepare a feat. I should say we should go with you can prepare feats. How do I have it worded up here? You can choose any number of combat masteries as part of your prepared spell list. There you go. You can choose any number of feats as part of your prepared power list. Origin feats and fighting styles can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers. General feats can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel second rank powers. When you do, you ignore any ability score prerequisites and you don't gain any ability score increases. And epic boons can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel fifth rank powers. When you do, you can ignore the level 19 plus prerequisite and you don't gain any ability score increases. I'm going to bold that. So you could kit out in fighting styles and origin feats at first level if you wanted to. So at first level, you notice here that skilled is not one of the origin feats that you can take because that just gets ridiculous. So that was broken. So I already got rid of that. Fighting styles you can acquire. These can be selected when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers. And here's all the fighting styles. General feats, these can be selected when you gain the ability to channel second rank powers. So at 4th level, you get general feats as a feat. And then at 5th level, you can start preparing them as powers, but not gain the ability bonus, and you can ignore it. Cannibalized power, that is going to go. We are getting rid of the cannibalized power. We're going to go visit the barbarian. But the rest of these things I'm pretty happy with. Let's see. Oh, and efficient power, we made a fighting style. So that you can, at first rank, you can take efficient power as a feat to drop the cost of a first rank power to 0. Here, let's go visit efficient power real quick. First off, I'm going to cut this out. Efficient power requires the channeling feature. So a wizard that takes the power initiate is not a channeler. So choose one exploit, maneuver, or reaction power you have prepared from the discipline list when you select this feat. When you channel the power chosen, you gain 1 temporary point of mana that can be expended in combination with any other source of mana or temporary mana to channel this power. So if it's a first rank power and it only requires 1 mana, this pays for that for you. We still have to have 1 point of mana, but we're giving you a free point of mana to automatically spend when you channel that power. It generates its own mana to power it. That's actually an important mechanical point. We couldn't reduce the cost of the mana, like reduce the cost of mana by 1 to a minimum of 0. We couldn't do it that way because most of the way that we have everything we're in here is depending on how much mana is expended when you channel this power, do this. So by generating temporary mana to pay for itself, it still has that 1 point of mana being expended. It's just temporary mana that's automatically generated by channeling the power. It's then immediately expended to activate the power. You could consider magic items to work this way. Like, for example, a Flame Tongue Sword deals 2d6 fire damage when you turn it on as a bonus action. It also creates light when you do that. Whenever you attack, it does 2d6 fire damage. With this system, when you activate the flame, when you use your bonus action to flame on your flame blade, it generates every time you hit, it generates 2 points of mana to channel the burning. What is it? Burning strike. What is it called? I think it's called burning strike. Flaming Strike. Your weapon can deal fire damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature is caught on fire, taking fire damage equal to the result of the highest power die rolled at the end of its turn. The creature can attempt to end the effect by suspending an action to put out the fire or succeeding a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns before taking damage. At the end of each of its turn until the fire is put out. The creature until the effect ends. Yeah, the creature can attempt to put out the fire by spending an action to do so. or succeeding a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns before taking damage. So if I deal this flame sword, this flame blade that we're using, right? It automatically generates 2 points of mana to initiate flaming strike. So you hit them, it does like at 5th level. You probably it's a rare magic item, so you probably wouldn't get it until 9th level. So at 9th level, you get the flame blade. You can channel up to 3 mana, and the flame blade generates 2 mana for free for you. So it'll automatically do 2d8 damage and catch the target on fire, dealing d8 damage per round until it either succeeds a dexterity saving throw or takes an action specifically to extinguish the fire that has been caught. So it's a really it's actually an upgrade to Flaming Blade, the Flame Blade magic item, but you don't stack the 2d6 fire damage on top of like doing 3d8 damage. It wouldn't be 3d8 damage and 2d6 damage. It would be you can do up to 3d8 damage, and the weapon will pay for 2 of those points specifically. But if I wanted to use Distracting Strike instead, then the Flame Blade doesn't do anything for me, because the only thing that the Flame Blade does is Flaming Strike. Just like the Frost Brand. It's same thing. It's a Freezing Strike, so it gives you 2 dice of mana to channel Freezing Strike whenever you hit with a weapon attack. Your weapon can deal cold damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature's movement is reduced to half, rounded down in an increment of 5, minimum of 0, until the end of its next turn. So I deal an extra, at 9th level, I would deal an extra 2d8 damage with a Frost Brand, and I would slow your movement as a result of it. But at 9th level, I could channel up to 3 mana, so the Frost Brand or the Flame Blade is going to pay for 2 of those mana. I can then spend 1 point of my own mana to ramp that up to be 3d8 damage with this sword. So this sword is basically an enspelled weapon that when I hit, it channels a spell or a strike power into that attack if I want to use that strike. Maybe I don't want to use Freezing Strike. Maybe I want to use Goading Strike instead. Well, then the Frost Brand effect won't trigger, and I won't get the free mana to do so. So that's how we're modifying magic items, which was something that we learned in the playtesting that we needed to do. So taking it back up here, before I lose it, I need to go down into the Barbarian and damage resistance, magic items, no concentration, duration, danger sense, reckless attack, primal skill. Where is it? Strength advantage, rage bonus, no concentration, primal power. While raging, you can expend barbarian hit dice. No action required. Instead of mana to channel powers. When you do, an equal number of power dice, if rolled, are replaced with 1d12. And I want to add this in down here. While raging, you can expend barbarian hit point dice instead of mana to channel powers. When you do, an equal number of power dice are replaced with d12s. In addition, you regain a number. This was a feat, but it was almost like it was a better version of what the Barbarian already had. In addition, you regain a number of hit points equal to the result of the hit dice rolled, even if the result is not used. Let's ignore that. So the problem is the Barbarian, until you get brutal strikes, you don't at 9th level. You don't. The Barbarian has no way of recovering any kind of mana. All the other classes have some sort of way of recovering mana, like the Fighter's Second Wind can recover mana, Paladin Lay on Hands can recover mana, Artificer using spell it's magic equipment, you can destroy them for mana. yada, yada, yada. Anyway. But the Barbarian doesn't have any ways of being able to gain any mana, so you end up being really short on mana compared to other classes. So we wanted to give them another means, and sacrificing hit dice was a good way to do that. But if you do that, then there's no way for you to regain hit points when you're taking a short rest. The Barbarian can while raging, if you can sacrifice your hit dice, you're going to be rolling a d12 at first level with that one hit die that you have. Instead of rolling a d6 power die, you're going to roll a d12. So that's awesome. And we're going to give you healing on top of it. So this really perpetuates the, pardon the pun, this perpetuates the idea that a Barbarian can just keep going. That it does not need to stop. If you're raging, you can get through the pain, because when you expend your hit dice, you're effectively healing yourself there on the spot, and you're ramping the amount of damage that you're doing or having a bigger effect on your D20 tests. So super massive advantage for Primal Power. And I wanted to really make that a Barbarian only feature. It was cool seeing it being used a lot during the playtesting on other classes like Fighter and stuff like that. But seeing that, it made it feel like, well, what's the Barbarian actually getting? This is a really awesome first level feature that gives the Barbarian just more and more sustainability. You can, while you're raging, not only are you gaining that damage reduction, but now you can expend your hit dice while raging to deal extra damage and to give yourself healing on the fly. The life-stealing strike, there's very, very little in this system that actually heals hit points. Most of it's temporary hit points, which is very on par, apparently, with where 2024. I'm rearranging my desk, so forgive me while I futz around here for a second. I have my mouse pad is I use this. It's a drying rack towel, basically, for dishes, but it has a really great tooth texture, and I put that over my Wacom tablet. I use a Wacom tablet for my painting in the morning when I stream painting, and so I put this over the Wacom tablet, and underneath the Wacom tablet I have another dish rag that I use to create friction so that the tablet doesn't slide around. So I've got dish towel, tablet, dish towel, mouse. And when I'm actually painting, I just roll up the dish towel and just use the tablet with the pen on smooth surface. More than you need to know, but just more of Phil's setup. So I wanted to move that Primal Power that really just makes the Barbarian unique and durable. I really like that on the fly durability. Let's see, what else did we need to look at here? That was a big priority. I'm liking how the feats are sitting. I'm enjoying the masteries. Wait, what's my note? Target you hit makes a strength or dexterity save or gains the prone condition. Resolved. I'm happy with that. Again, all the feats. So that's what efficient power was, and then we talked about the where'd he go? The power initiate. We already talked about power initiate as well. Origin feat. You can increase the total number of powers you can prepare by 1. If you don't have the channeling class feature, you can instead choose any meta power or first rank power from the list of disciplines above, which you can channel by expending 1 point of mana from your mana pool. Your power die is that's supposed to be a D4. And your channeling ability is either strength, dexterity, or constitution. Repeatable. You can take this feat more than once, gaining an additional power each time. You can increase the total number of powers you can prepare by 1. So if you're already a channeler, if you take the power initiate feat, instead of being a cap of 15 plus your 10 subclass, you would now have a cap of 16 plus your subclass. So you can take the power initiate feat. I can take the power initiate feat as a feat, as a power, and it just washes. There's no reason to do that. I just think it's funny that you can, because the power initiate, I should actually remove power initiate from the origin feats, because there's no reason for you to take the power initiative feat as a feat, because it gives you a power that you could then spend on a feat. You may as well just not have taken it. But new feats are what they are. So efficient power, and then power initiate, and reactive maneuver. Does that still exist? Hold on. I think we got rid of that. What was this? When you make an opportunity attack against a creature leaving the reach of... Oh, yeah. This is just a general feat, right. Instead of the war... This is like the answer to the Warcaster feat. We don't maintain concentration on powers. So we didn't need to have advantage on concentration saving throws to maintain concentration. But when you make an opportunity attack against a creature leaving the reach of your melee attack, you can instead channel a maneuver that only targets that creature. Reactive maneuver, that actually should be listed in the general feats. Reactive maneuvers. There. You have to have a maneuver prepared, and when you do, you can use it against that target. Reactive maneuver. There. And that absolutely should be... Yeah, I don't want to make that a fighting style. That should be a general feat. That lines up. And whatever your channeling ability score is, that increases by 1 if you take it as just a general feat. Alternate damage types. So basic, you can use one of your prepared powers to channel. I should change that language to line up with everything else. No, yeah, that actually works. You can use one of your prepared powers to channel damage types of your choice when you deal damage with a weapon attack or power. When you deal with a weapon attack or power. Each type of damage must be prepared separately, but there are no limits on how many types of damage you have prepared, up to your maximum total prepared powers. A little redundant right now. Basic damage types can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel first rank powers. Advanced damage types. Let's go with advanced. Advanced damage types can be prepared when you gain the ability to channel second rank powers, which means 5th level. So the basic types, I could choose to deal piercing damage instead of slashing damage with a great sword if I wanted to. I could choose to deal bludgeoning damage instead, flat of the blade. That might, I mean, your DM may decide to let you do that for free, but I'm putting it in there because there's no reason for it not to be in there. Me as a DM, I would generally allow you to use bludgeoning with any weapon by using flat of the blade or the pommel or the hand guard, whatever. I think that's easy. Slashing and piercing, not so necessarily intuitive, but generally I allow you to use BPS interchangeably. A monk martial arts style allows you to use unarmed attacks as BPS. I can bludgeon you, I can pierce, as in like poke your eye out, and in slashing I can cut across you with my nails, or I could bite you. So BPS is available to monks. Whenever they make an unarmed attack, you describe how you're dealing the damage and what type of damage you're dealing. I'm going to bite him dealing slashing damage. Here we go, D10. Well, or whatever. But acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, those are first rank power effects, first rank damage types. And then at 5th level, force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder. This corresponds with most subclasses, giving you some sort of modified damage as early as 3rd level, or at worst 7th. So having these available at 5th falls in that pocket of power scaling. Like I think it's at 6th level, all monk attacks are automatically force damage. That lines up. And if we're looking at guilds and deities from Ravnica, Theros, and Strixhaven, here's the different colors that each of these are devoted to and the types of damage that correspond with what they're devoted to. Like Azorius Senate has mostly cold, lightning, radiant, and psychic damage. Like the radiant and psychic damage really clicks in for them. It's obvious once you're really looking at Azorius, but at 1st level, cold lightning makes sense. Blue lightning, cold from white. That all makes sense. Boros Legion, white and red, fire and lightning damage right away, eventually into force and radiant. Also vary on flavor for Boros. Most of these things just kind of make sense. And then we actually get into the actual listed powers. And I want to come through and edit some of these. So something I know that I need to get rid of, and I know this is going to be sad for some of the playtesters, but we're going to get rid of empowered synergy. When you channel a maneuver or a sustained power, which could be either an action or a bonus action to channel those things, you can also make a weapon attack with advantage as part of channeling that maneuver. This attack can be made before, after, or while channeling the power. So we also have a maneuver. Bonus attack. Make a weapon attack. That costs 1 mana, which you could buy down to 0. And subtle channeling is also first rank, which you could buy down to 0. And when you channel a power, there's no... sorry, not subtle. Oh, that's right. Empowered synergy is 2, but you could buy it down to 1. So for 1 mana, you can get 2 attacks as a bonus action, or as a magic action, or you can do it twice. So you could have, you could spend your a magic action to do 2 attacks, bonus action, and empowered synergy, and you could also expend your bonus action to channel bonus attack and empowered synergy as an exploit. So you get, for 2 mana, you get 4 attacks that round. But it gets further than that, because we also had the power Double Strike. Double Strike is a 2nd rank power. You can make 2 weapon attacks against the same or different targets. These attacks cannot be sacrificed to generate mana. Double Strike, that's a 2nd rank maneuver that you could then use with empowered synergy. I could buy down the cost of Double Strike to be 1 mana, and I can buy down the cost of empowered synergy to be 1 mana. So for 2 mana as a magic action and then 2 mana as a bonus action, I can get 6 attacks per round. That is incredibly aggressive. It's too strong. So the easiest solution is to the original idea was like if I use Shunt to push somebody 20 feet. I could also make an attack. But that was just proving to be just too much action economy. So we're going to just flat out get rid of that one. And for bonus attack, make a weapon attack. One second. I'm going to change, I'm going to remove Double Strike as a separate power. Instead, we're going to make a kicker effect. Kicker effects is when you channel a power, you can spend extra mana to do other things with it. You can make 2 weapon attacks. Kicker. So it's 1 mana, and you can buy down bonus attack to be free. So if I took the efficient power feat, I can make bonus attack 0, which is anytime. And again, maneuvers can be power. It can be channeled as magic actions or bonus actions. So I could channel bonus attack I could reduce that cost down to 0, and then as a kicker effect, for 2 extra mana, I could make 2 weapon attacks against the same or different targets. This would have a total, if I don't buy down the cost, the total cost would be 1, 2, 3. It'd be a total of 3 mana. I can buy down the cost of the bonus attack to be 0 mana, but then spend 2 mana to make 2 attacks instead of 1, while a monk has Flurry of Blows at, is that at 5th level? No, 2nd level. At 2nd level, right. I get the ability to channel. I can make 2 attacks with a bonus action for 1 mana. So the monk basically gets this already with the reduced mana cost and reducing the kicker cost down to only being 0 for the bonus attack. That's just what a monk can do. And then for 1 mana, I can make 2 attacks as a bonus action instead of 1. This is allowing. This assumes 3 mana. I can buy it down to 2 mana, but I can't reduce it from there. So I could do what a monk can do without being a monk less efficiently, and that's where ultimately I want to let that sit. Something else that exists. Hold on, I need to get rid of Double Strike. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm looking for the feat. There should be a feat in here. There's not currently a feat in here. Let me go down to sustained powers, because that's what I'm looking for next. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, I need to change power shield. Let me go. Hold on. I need to be making a list. Removed double strike. Removed empowered synergy. Removed cannibalize power. Modified magic weapons. Attack maneuvers. While this power is sustained during your turn, when you take the attack action, you can forgo 1 or more of these attacks to channel an equal number of maneuvers instead. This is a sustained power. It costs 1 mana. Sustained powers are like concentration effects, but they're persistent. Until you go unconscious or become incapacitated. Excuse me. Or dispelled. Sustained powers remain up. They don't require concentration, and you can stack them. So at first rank, you can only have 1 first rank power active. At 5th level, when you get access to 2nd rank powers, you can have 1 2nd rank sustained power active or 2 first rank sustained powers active at the same time. By 17th level, you have 5 mana capacity. You can sustain up to 5 ranks of sustained powers. No sustained powers above 4th rank. So you'd have basically a 4th rank power and a 1st rank power, or 5 1st rank powers, or 2 2nd rank powers and a 1st rank power, blah, anything that can total up to 5 at 17th level. So you turn them on and they stay on. There's no concentration that's needed, and they don't prevent you. They don't get in the way of using any other powers or casting any other spells. However, for the half casters, for every level of concentration, for every level of spell that you're concentrating on, that reduces the amount of powers that you can sustain. So if a 9th level paladin is concentrating on a 3rd level spell, I can't sustain any powers right now because all 3 of my concentration slots are full with concentrating on a 3rd level spell. I could sustain a 2nd rank power and still have enough space open for me to maintain concentration on a 1st level spell. But if I have 3 ranks of power, I wouldn't be able to cast any spells that require concentration. So the casters have all these powers, like all 200 powers available to them, and their list of like 60 whatever spells that they have available to them. But they have to balance between, am I going to be a concentration caster, or am I going to sustain powers, or am I not going to do either one of them? Do not bother with it. But at first rank, you can sustain. You only get 1 point of mana, right? But you can sustain that 1 point, and you can't spend temporary. You can't sacrifice action economy to sustain powers. You can only you can sacrifice action economy to do exploits, maneuvers, reactions, and strikes, but not sustain powers. You don't. You have to spend mana from your mana pool to sustain a power. And at first level, you only have 1 point of mana. So that means that you would be able to basically like take a bunch of feats or weapon masteries, and then a sustain power, take your 1 point of mana, and then turn on your sustain power and keep it on. So adaptive resistance gives you resistance. Aquatic anatomy lets you swim, breathe underwater, and attack like normal. But attack maneuvers lets me, instead of making an attack with my attack action, I can channel a maneuver. Like bonus action is a maneuver, and if I used the attack maneuvers with double strike and empowered synergy, and I'm a 5th level ranger, I could do 3 attacks with my first attack because of double strike and empowered synergy, and then my other attack I could double strike and empowered synergy, and then as a bonus action I could double strike and empowered synergy. At 5th level, that would be 9 attacks, and all 9 of those attacks could also channel strike powers to them to deal extra damage. It's way too much. So we found that. God bless our rangers and our fighters finding these things, and they are way too powerful. So we had to trim those down. But I think I like attack maneuvers. I like the idea. I like attack maneuvers being a sustained power. I think I'm okay with that. I was thinking about having it be a feat, but I'm pretty happy with that. Blind Sense, 10 feet per rank of power. So at first level, it's only 10 feet, but at 17th level, it's a 50-foot Blind Sense. So you could make ranged attacks in total darkness. This works great for Dark Spot, Shadow Sorcerers, Shadow Monks, Warlocks, Devil's Sight, and stuff like that. This Blind Sense allows you to ignore that. There's only 1 rank. So by like 9th level, when these darkness tricks start to really click into effect, you can have 30 feet Blind Sense and basically be able to ignore the darkness that you could be sitting inside of with your monk, attacking enemies in globs of darkness. So that's, and again, you can prepare powers on a long rest. So you could easily just pick up, like once your team starts getting into globs of darkness, your whole team can be operating in Blind Sense. And it's first rank. So, oh wait, power. I don't think Power Initiate lets you. Does Power Initiate let you get sustained powers? I think it does. Hold on. Yeah. So even a wizard could take the Power Initiate feat and then choose Blind Sense, and it would only be a 10-foot Blind Sense because his rank will never be higher than 1. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. So that's those are powers. So I like the attack maneuvers remaining as a power. That's a definite cost factor. What else am I looking at? Fighting feats, Crusher, reactive maneuvers is fixed. Alternate damage. Deities, thank you. Disciplines, what else was I looking at? Give me a moment, hold on. Cooperative effort, overrun. Oh, that's right. So let's see, we Remove double strike, remove empowered synergy, remove cannibalized power, modified power shield. So what I want to do is I want to look at reactions. Let's see. Anticipate. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack that you can see. Let's see. Anticipate. As a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack that you can see makes an attack, before they roll to hit, you make a weapon attack against it. If anticipate is used with push, the attack is used to push the attacker out of melee range. The attack is not wasted. So that's an important detail. So if I use anticipate, and I think what I want to do is, you make sense. You can see I want to limit this to as a reaction to when a creature within range of your weapon attack that you can see makes an attack against you. Before they roll to hit, you make a weapon attack. Before, without that language there, anytime anyone tried to make an attack anywhere, you could use anticipate to attack to make an attack against them. And before we added in the notes about anticipate and push, we ran into, if I push them out of range, how are they going to make the attack? Because the attack happens first. That's as opposed to retaliate. And retaliate is as a reaction to taking damage from an attack. You make a weapon attack against the attacker if it's within reach of your weapon. So this is, anticipate is before they attack, and retaliate is after they attack. Anticipate doesn't... but anticipate doesn't ruin the attack, and retaliate only clicks in if they actually succeed with the attack. Arguably, we could get rid of retaliate for anticipate instead. But I like the flavor of it. Modified. Now I want to go down into the sustained powers and... no, wait. I was still looking at reaction powers. I'm looking for something that ramps your armor class. I'm pretty sure there is a... empowered effort, cooperative effort, slippery, subtle channeling, precise attack. When you make an attack again... No. Vanish, first strike, resilient save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if the save succeeds, you take no damage, or half if you fail. You decide to channel this power after you roll the save, but before you know if it succeeded. If the save succeeds, you take no damage, or half if you fail. Yeah, after you roll and you know, right. That's the right place to do it. After you roll, but before you know if you succeeded. Swift attunement. What I'm looking for is, I think, a reaction. Yeah, I'm looking for a reaction that modifies your armor class. So bait and switch. Bait and switch is a little different. When you or a willing creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can spend 1 mana to switch places. When you that's worded weird. When you or a willing creature within 5 feet of you is hit there. Yeah, right. When you or a willing creature is within 5 feet of you, when a willing creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can spend 1 mana to switch places with the creature. Switching places this way doesn't change the target of the attack roll, nor count as movement or provoke opportunity attacks. In addition, the target creature you can how do I want to do this? Switching places this way. You can spend 1 mana to switch places with a creature. Choosing to become the target of the attack. Switching places this way doesn't change the doesn't count as movement. Or provoke opportunity attacks. In addition, the target creature gains a bonus to armor class against the attack equal to your proficiency modifier, potentially turning a hit into a miss. As movement or provoke opportunity attacks. When a willing creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can spend 1 mana to switch places when a creature... Let's make it unwilling. When a creature within 5 feet of you is hit with an attack roll, you can spend 1 mana to switch places with the creature, choosing to become the target of the attack. And you can choose to become the target of the attack. Switching places this way doesn't count as movement or provoke opportunity attacks. In addition, the target of the attack gains a bonus to armor class equal to your proficiency modifier, potentially turning a hit into a miss. The target, in addition, that is the right language. The target of the attack gains a bonus armor class against the attack. That's the proper language. Otherwise, it implies that you have like a permanent armor class bonus, or the armor class bonus lasts for the duration of the turn. That's not what we want to do. 1 mana to not use a reaction. And then I could spend 1 mana to not use a reaction when you channel this power. So it normally would take a reaction, but this is the first example that we have. The kicker cost here, if I spend 1 mana, I don't actually have to use my reaction. I can just do this. But the bait and switch can be reduced down to 0 cost because I can use efficient power to make this basically a free maneuver, a free reaction, which is cool. But I will always have to spend 1 point of mana to not use my reaction to trigger this effect. This means I can use anything that has this that has this no reaction kicker. I can use as often as I want, depending on what circumstances trigger. But it's always going to cost me mana to do it. So I'm eventually going to run out of mana. But if you're going to have like a devoted defender or a tank character, they can sacrifice all of their attacks and their bonus action to get a free reaction and to get a bunch of kicker effects that allow them to defend their allies without having to spend any mana at all or any reactions. They'll have to spend mana, but not any reactions. And if they sacrifice all their action economy by 9th level, that's 4 mana for free that they're getting each turn. And they could have, if a reaction is free, they could potentially spend 4 mana to have 5 reactions that turn to do things to defend their allies from being hurt. So it becomes an excellent defender. And if anyone that's interested in the Mage Tower playtesting that I'm hoping to start up in December, that makes for an excellent goalie because the goal and the ball are both treated as allies and enemies respectively. So the ball is either an ally or an enemy depending on how you're using it. It's also a weapon that you can attack with, and you attack the goal. And the goal is considered an ally or an enemy depending on what it is that you're trying to do. But a devoted defender, i.e. a goalie, can bait and switch any attack that's coming this way as long as you're willing to spend your reaction or mana to do so. And you can just be sacrificing all of your action economy every turn and just simply reacting to shots being taken on the goal, attempting to deflect those or take the hit for it. Like you'll take D4 damage from the ball impacting you, but it didn't result in a goal. If you can hit the goal and deal any damage to it, then it counts as a point of scoring a goal. But like a monk devoted defender could use deflect arrows or deflect attacks, and when the ball comes in as an attack, if I can reduce the damage to 0, then that will basically nullify any kind of goal that's coming in. So there's a lot of fun ways to be able to use the combat mechanics that are built into the game to create effective goalies, and then converting the ball into a thrown weapon attack. That allows you to attack the goal, and now you have basically a combat sport game, a sport that you run using the combat pillar of 5e game mechanics. And for as much complaining as there is about how long it takes to resolve combat in D&D, if you were to play hockey or football or soccer or rugby or Mage Tower as a sport in D&D, 5e action economy combat is the ideal, I think, the ideal combat system, the ideal game engine to run tabletop sports. I think it's fantastic. The mix of movement, bonus actions, reactions, and attacks/actions that you can take allows for a lot of variety in being able to set up combos, plays, outmaneuvering people. I think there's a lot of fun that can be had with that. So hopefully folks will be interested in participating in the Mage Tower sport playtesting, because I think a lot of this stuff would be a lot of fun for that. And it doesn't have to just be martials. You could have, you could take your sorcerer and use telekinesis and teleport and all that other stuff to be an athlete and to help synergize with your team somehow. You could also kill each other, so it's just knockout damage. So at the end of the period, you're back to full health again with a short rest. So you could kill each other and then score points that way by eliminating all of the opponents on the battlefield. But cheers. Multiple ways to win. What was I looking for? I was looking for armor class, feint. As a reaction to when you miss an attack roll, you can roll again, potentially turning the miss into a hit, which I could drop down to 0 cost, but by always spending 1 mana, I could roll 1 power die per mana spent this way, adding the highest result to the attack roll. So I could roll 3 dice, like at 9th level I could spend 3 mana to roll 3d8, and whatever the highest result is, I would keep that and add that to my attack roll. It cost me 3 mana to feint like that, but I could do it. Same with downtrodden. As a reaction to an enemy you can see within reach of your melee weapon, melee attack becomes prone, you can make a weapon attack against them. Downtrodden is a great thing to add to wolves. If you're modifying your monsters with powers, which we talk about in the DM section down below, but wolves get the trip attack. So when they attack, if they hit you, they trip you. And then they can automatically use their reaction to bite you again. And then when they bite, they could grapple you. And now you're stuck prone because your movement speed has been reduced to 0. And now you're prone, and all the wolves around you have an advantage to attack you while you're prone. And now they're biting and grappling you, and being mauled by wolves is no joke, man. That's bad news. But yeah, just adding simple powers to monsters can make them incredibly dangerous. A fun idea to keep in mind if you think you need to spice up your combat. The DM section of how to modify monsters with powers is basically a universal thing. Like, you can get Beholder powers if you wanted to. Like, when it hits it with the anti-magic ray, it's going to get dropped. But like, you could use Anchor. A Beholder could use Anchor against your character so they can't teleport. So when they hit you with an I-beam, you're not going to disappear like a beguiling rogue beguiling warlock, for instance. I'm trying to find armor class. Inspired War, interpose. As a reaction to when an ally within reach of your melee attack takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of that damage and gain resistance to it. 1 mana to not use a reaction when you channel this power. Reposition. As a reaction to when a creature you can see moves within reach of attacking you with their melee weapon, you can move 10 feet. This doesn't count towards your move speed. So basically, you can run away from them. But that's not free. You can only do that once, right? Otherwise, you'd have infinite movement. Retaliate, we talked about. Countering attack, curse, deflection. As a reaction to when you or an ally within reach of your melee attack are hit by an attack roll from a source you can see, the attack is re-rolled, taking the new result. This result cannot score a critical hit. And as a kicker, you don't have to use a reaction. That's second rank, though. Parry. As a reaction to when you are hit by a melee attack roll, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to your armor class against the attack roll, possibly causing it to miss. 1 mana to not use a reaction, so I can parry for free as long as I'm willing to spend mana. I can ramp my armor class per effect. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Okay, so let's go down and take a look at power armor. And power shield. Power armor. Your armor class is 12 plus channeling ability modifier plus your max rank of power. So if I'm not my armor class, so if I'm not wearing armor, obviously if I'm wearing armor this could be better, but the base is 12 plus my channeling ability modifier, like for rogue it could be dexterity, so that's like say 17. At 17th level it would be 12 plus 5, 17 plus my max rank of power at 17th level is 5, so that's plus 5, so that's a armor class of plus 20. That's armor class of 22. For 17th level, that's pretty good. Power shield. You create a defensive field of power that can be wielded as a shield that you are proficient with. The shield hovers in your space to protect you, leaving your hands free. The bonus to your armor class gained from the shield is equal to 1 plus your max rank of power. You can benefit from only 1 shield at a time. So it's 2 to begin with, and it eventually ramps up to 6. And this is 22. So that would take you to an armor class, with these 2 things, that would take you to an armor class of 28 at 17th level. Let's go into the monster manual real quick. And let's look at what type of shit we're fighting at 17th level. Game rules, monsters. Let's flip that. '17th level, we're going to be fighting basically CR 17, like CR 15 to 17 creatures, 15 plus. Anything lower than that is just basically going to be a mob. It's not going to be worth your time. So, dowdy. There's a lot of high CR creatures. Let's keep channeling through this stuff. I just need to get down to the 15s. Then we can start working our way up. Like CR21. Oh, fuck off, Fizzban. Thank you. What's your attack bonus? Plus 15. So you've got, if you have an armor class of 28, I have to roll 13 or better to hit you here. That's not so bad. That's also a CR 21. So let's get down to CR 15 and see where we're sitting. Like that armor class bonus is nice if you're wielding a two-handed weapon, like a bow or a glaive or something. I don't know if I actually need to give you that. We could probably give you like, I think I want to tame it down and probably like make it a +3 bonus instead of a +2 bonus. But let's, I want to get down to CR 15. I bet they have like a +9 bonus. Here we go. All these fucking whatever books. Can I have something that's just out of the fucking book? I need to filter these things better. So much garbage. Basic rules. Thank you. Plus 12 to hit. But that's a dragon. It's over. Dragons are overclocked. Oh, come on, man. I need something from a book that's not some random weird book. Purple Worm, thank you. Fuck's sake. Oh wow, plus 14. That's pretty good. Why am I not logged in? Thank you. Damage is 12 plus 12. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay, but yeah, I think dropping on the shield bonus to plus 3 basically makes it a shield plus 1. I think that's high value. Let's keep that there. Yeah, let's change this. Shield hovers in a space to protect you, leaving your hands free. The bonus your armor class gain from the shield is plus 3 bonus. Yeah, I'm happy with that. $11.11. Time to make a wish. I think I'm happy with everything else right now. Oh, wait, here's a note. Let's see. While this power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, or paralyzed, any creature you can see... Hold on. Deadly presence, right. Daunting presence. While sustaining this power, attacks targeting you by creatures you can see roll with disadvantage, and when you are the only target of an effect that require you to make a saving throw, you roll with advantage. In addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 mana and target a creature as a unique first-rank maneuver. If the target fails a wisdom saving throw, it is frightened of you while it remains within sight. The creature can make an additional save at the end of its turn, so it costs 3 mana to sustain Daunting Presence. I'm going to change Deadly Presence. Change Deadly Presence to Thicket. It was called Thicket of Blades in 3rd edition. not restrained, stunned, or paralyzed. Any creature you can see takes 1 power die of weapon damage, and movement is and space within reach of your attack is considered difficult terrain. Paralyzed. Movement within reach of your melee attack is considered is difficult terrain. And any creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of weapon damage. Period. When you sustain this power for 4 mana, the damage increases to 2 power dice. So it's 2 mana right now, it becomes 4. Deadly Presence, I need to change that. Flotilla of Pain. Thicket of Pain. And we're going to move it down to its proper alphabetical position. Thicket of Pain. I don't know if that's a good name or not, but we're going with it for now until we find a better name. Change Deadly Presence to Thicket of Pain. And okay, great. So I think those are the only those were the changes that I knew I wanted to make. Changed Deadly Presence, changed modified burning, flaming strike, modified bait, and switch. So far, so good. Those are the changes I wanted to make to the powers offhand. I need to go through and modify the bonus powers that everyone gets. But we'll get to that in time. Also, we have every single subclass, both from 2024 and 2014 in this document for all 14, including the Scion, all 14 classes. And I know that the Forgotten Realms book just came out, but I'm not going to purchase the early access edition because I don't subscribe to D&D Beyond, and I didn't want to buy the book bundle. I'll wait for the PDF to come out, and I'll acquire that. And I know a new UA just dropped, so maybe I want to spend some time taking a look at that. But I know I want to make. I know I want to right now. We just made the update. Modified primal power, modified barbarian, primal power, and I know I want to go to the fighter. I want to go to the ranger and the fighter. I want to look at both of those. But I think the barbarian is going to be fine for now. But we're going to sweep through all these, and we're going to grab the UA, and we're going to look at the subclass changes that they made in the UA, and we're going to start updating our document with that. So we'll probably do a little bit of that and then call it a day. So, but first I want to go down to the fighter. And we got channeling, martial powers, second wind, tactical recovery. When you activate second wind, rather than regaining hit points, you choose to regain 1 mana. At 9th level, you recover 2 mana. At 17th level, you recover 3 mana. That paces with sacrificing your bonus action to gain mana, by the way. 1, 9, 17 are the 1, 2, 3. Action Surge, I'm still good with that. Martial Power, Channeling. You can use this feature twice. Again, 1 addition to 4 and 10. Action Surge, Tactical Mind. Yeah, tactical recovery at first level. That's how you get more mana. Indomitable power. These are all good. Those are all good. Yeah, that's all good. Battle Master. I wanted to float down here. Combat superiority. Coordinated dash. Cooperative effort. Commanding stance. Attack maneuvers regain at 5th level. Know your enemies. Master of arms. Superior maneuvers. The attack maneuvers power is now permanent without requiring any mana. So the Battle Master at 15th level. So we get the attack maneuvers, which is the first rank sustain power that lets us channel maneuvers instead of attacks when we take the attack action. And it's a first rank sustain power to sustain that effect, but at 15th level, it's permanent and becomes free. Unparalleled power. Whenever you roll any power dice, replace all results of 1 through 5 with a 6. The Battle Master, instead of rolling a D6, D8, D10 for your power dice, when you gain 3rd level, it becomes a D8. At 9th level, it becomes a D10. At 17th level, it becomes a D12. So the stable, the superior, the unparalleled power. When you're rolling that D12, if I roll less than a 6, I'm going to roll at least a 6 on my D12 whenever I use martial powers. Champion, I know I wanted to modify. We're going to be getting rid of him. I have to go through and look at the things that we modified. But let's see. Improved critical, I was happy with that. A remarkable athlete. In addition, once per turn when you score a critical hit or channel a maneuver as a bonus power, you can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. I'm going to change that to when you channel a sustained power. As a bonus. You can sustain a power as a magic action or a bonus action, and you can do 2 in the same round if you want to. A lot of action economy there. Maneuvers also can be channeled as a magic action or a bonus action twice in the same round if you want. Same power, same round if you want. And with the attack maneuvers option, each of your attacks can be converted into maneuvers as well. So an 11th level fighter can do maneuver, maneuver, maneuver with their attack action, and then bonus action, maneuver, and then action surge, maneuver, maneuver, maneuver. A lot like that is a massive warlord, like the command, like the martial commander, the martial herald, or the warlord concept of being able to command other people's action economy. The fighter battle master is where it is fucking at with that, because you can just spam the hell out of first rank maneuvers and do 3, 4, 7 in one turn if you want to, and it costs 0 mana if you're using efficient power to buy down your maneuvers to 0. It's ridiculous action economy. It's crazy good. It's such a crazy good commander. Rangers make really good commanders. It's just it's so fucking cool. But anyone can be a commander using martial powers. Your artificer can be a commander, because artificers, rangers, and paladins can choose spells or powers. So half-casters are automatically gishes using this system, as is the Warlock. The Warlock can choose to learn powers instead of spells. It's still limited to the half-casting progression for powers while still retaining full casting progression for spells, and you can swap invocations for maneuver for powers. If you want to keep all of your spells that you normally have for your Warlock, but you want to spend all of your invocations on maneuvers, you can do that. We get rid of Eldritch Smite, and we replace it with Pick a Strike. But you're going to be limited to, at 1st, 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 mana. Modified Remarkable Athlete. So it's channel sustained powers instead of maneuvers. It's going to happen a lot less often, but the champion is one of the few classes that gets a critical strike. Heroic Warrior. During combat, you give yourself Heroic Inspiration whenever you start a turn without it. I love that. Superior. You drop down to an 18 on a 20. And Survivor. When bloodied, you regain hit points equal to 5 plus your Constitution modifier. In addition, when you make a death save, a result of 18 to 20 gives you the benefit of rolling a 20. I love that. I love all of that. That's super good. I wanted to see those changes. And modified champion. What's that power called? Oh, it's raining. I love it when it rains. I love it when it rains in Seattle. It's really nice. The Pacific Northwest is gorgeous. Remarkable athlete. And now I want to go down to the Ranger. And when we finish updating the Mark of Prey for the Ranger, then I'm going to go into the UA. And we're going to grab a subclass from the UA, and we're going to compare it to where we're at here and update it according to where they're at with the UA right now. Get through the monk. The monk, the monk, the monk, the monk, the monk. Monk, 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 monk. Let's get through it. Paladin, Ranger is where I want to be. There we go. Ranger. Spell casting with power starting at first level. You can choose to prepare spells on the Ranger spell list instead of powers. The amount of mana spent to cast a spell is equal to the level of the spell cast. Maintaining concentration on a spell follows the rules as presented in the color mana spell point variant rules on DMsGuild. Each rank of power you sustain reduces the maximum spell level you can maintain concentration on at the time. For example, if a 9th level Ranger is sustaining 2 ranks of power, you can only concentrate on a level 1 spell. When you sacrifice your bonus action during combat to generate temporary mana, you can expend that mana to cast one of your Ranger's spells. When you sacrifice action economy, during combat to generate temporary mana, you can expend that mana to cast one of your Ranger spells with the duration of instant or concentration instead of channeling a power. You're not limited to casting one spell with mana per round. For example, you can cast a level 3 spell that uses the magic action and a level 2 spell that uses a bonus action during your turn if you have 5 mana available. Using martial powers replaces the Hunter's Mark spell with the Mark of Prey martial power class feature as described below. Modified Ranger spell casting empowered actions. Paladin Artificer. I need to modify Paladin Artificer as well. Mark of Prey, here we go. So replaces Hunter's Mark, replaces favorite enemy and the Relentless Hunter feature. As a bonus action, you can mark a creature that you can see within 120 feet of yourself as your prey. The mark remains until you mark a new target as your prey, the target is killed, or you are incapacitated. In addition, you add the Martial Strike power to your list of powers without counting against the number that you can prepare. So you automatically get the Martial Strike power, which we talked about earlier. Effects at level 1. While a creature is marked as your prey, you gain advantage with Intelligence Investigation and Wisdom Insight Perception Survival checks related to your prey. And when you hit your prey with a weapon attack, you gain 1 point of temporary mana to expend as a strike power, and you get the Martial Strike power for free. So that's automatically an extra D8 that you're doing every time you hit with an attack. At level 1, you can attack once, unless you're using a bonus action to attack multiple times, in which case you are encouraged to do so. Level 5, you gain advantage with weapon attacks targeting your prey. At level 9, your weapon attack scores a critical hit against your prey on a roll of 19 and 20. At level 13, your Mark of Prey persists while you're incapacitated, including while you take a long rest. And you can mark your target, and you can mark a target you can see as your prey regardless of distance. And at level 17, your weapon attack scores a critical hit against your prey on a roll of 18, 19, or 20. I want to add in advantage with the attack against your prey is huge, especially if you're going to multi-class 5th level Ranger with Rogue to get sneak attack going. Again, this system encourages multi-classing, to synergize, to make builds that synergize with each other. this is what I want to do. As an attack or bonus action, you can mark a creature that you can see within 120 feet as your prey. I like that. I was not liking how often the ranger would use their bonus action to mark a target as their prey, and then somebody else would kill it, and they just lost their bonus action to mark something that they weren't able to finish off, like with the plan of finishing off the next round. It ended up just costing them a lot of action economy, and it felt bad. So as an attack, at first level, if you use an attack to mark your prey, maybe you have a bonus action you can take for an attack, or you can use your bonus action to mark prey, and then you have your attack. It's basically 6 or a half dozen. It's the same thing. I should be saying 5d12 or 6d10. Same thing. I like that. So using an attack at level 1, that feels really good. So by 5th level, you have 2 attacks. So you could mark your prey with an attack it, it dies, and then you can mark something else as your bonus action if you wanted to, or whatever. Or you can attack something, it dies, and then you can use your bonus action to mark a new target, and then you can use the other attack. Or you could, if you're using, like, say, double strike or something like that, then you could attack, use your other attack to mark new prey, and then double strike on that one. I like that. I think that works. Now let's go down through the subclasses, because I know the Beastmaster modifies Mark of Prey. You magically summon a primal beast using one of the stat blocks: beast to land, sea, sky. You also determine the kind of animal it is, choosing a kind appropriate to the stat block. Whatever beast you choose, it bears primal markings indicating its supernatural origin. The beast is friendly to you and your allies and obeys your commands. It vanishes if you die. In combat, the beast acts during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own or on its own in tandem with you, but the only action it takes is the dodge action unless you use a bonus action to command it to take any other action listed in its stat blocks or some other action. If you have the incapacitated condition, the beast acts on its own and isn't limited to the dodge action. In addition, you gain the following options with your animal companion. You can take damage for your companion using your own hit points while you can see your companion. Companion natural attacks qualify as melee weapons. 1 plus copper pieces in value to qualify for spells and feats that are considered unarmed. For use with feats, features, and other 1,000 gold piece value. I don't think I need to do that. I think 1 copper piece is actually the only limit we have. I don't think there's anything else. To qualify for spells and feats that are considered unarmed attacks and are considered unarmed attacks for use with feats, features, and other options that require these specific attacks. You can expend 2 mana to resummon your companion, or if it's been killed in the past hour, you can instead bring it back to life to full with hit points. Alternatively, you can perform a 10-minute ritual to resummon your companion. Shared powers. As you gain levels, you can channel powers through your companion and its attacks. At 3rd level, you gain the following features. Your companion benefits from your Mark of Prey, and you can channel strike powers through your companion's attacks. Strike powers through your companion attacks. When you sacrifice your bonus action to generate mana, you can also sacrifice your companion's action to generate 1 additional point of temporary mana. The companion can benefit from any meta powers you have prepared or feats you have gained. 7, exceptional training. Your bond with your pet strengthens. Modified. Modified Ranger shared power. Ranger Beastmaster shared power. You can now use your bonus action to command your companion to take the dash, disengage, or dodge action. In addition, when you take the attack action, any number of these attacks can be made by your pet instead of you. When a companion hits a creature, you can use a bonus action. When your companion hits a creature, you can use an attack or bonus action to mark that target as prey as part of the attack. You can choose to channel. Your companion hits a creature. Right. You can choose to channel any exploit or reaction you have prepared through your companion. You can target your pet with a sustained power, expending mana separately from any powers you are sustaining on yourself. This counts towards the total number of mana sustained. Gestalt teamwork. You and your pet act as one, gaining the following features. When you take the attack action, you gain a third attack that can only be used to command your companion to attack. Hold on. In combat, the beast acts on during your turn. It can move and use its reaction on its own in tandem with you, but the only action it takes is the dodge action, unless you use a bonus action to command it to take any other action listed in its stat block to attack. Any other action listed in its stat block, or some other action. So normally it's a bonus initially it's a bonus action to command it. So having the attack action be used to mark prey now works with the order of the bonus order. And now, when taking the attack action, when taking the attack action, your companion can make an attack without using a bonus action to command it. Can make an attack without using without using a bonus action to command it. Modified Ranger, Gestalt teamwork. You can choose to channel any maneuver power you know through your companion. Twin companions. Hey, what's up? Tomahawk chop. As a second rank sustained power, you can summon and command a second companion. The power ends when you dismiss the pet or it's reduced to 0 hit points. You can use your attack when you take the attack action to order either companion to attack. You can use your attacks. When taking the attack action, you can use your attack. You can use your attacks when you take the attack action to order either companion to attack. 2 bodies, 1 soul. When you channel a sustained power, let's call it collective. When you channel a sustained power or maintain concentration on a spell, your companions benefit from the effects as well without expending any extra mana. So yeah, collective power. Twin companions at second rank as a second rank sustained power. You can use your attacks. And you take the attack action to order either companion to attack. Thank you. To attack instead. When you take the attack action, your companion can make an attack without using a bonus action to command it to do. Without using a bonus action to command it. Bah. I'm good with that. Yeah. Modify Gestalt teamwork. Modified Ranger, Beastmaster, collective power. Now, I want to go down into the Drake Warden. Take damage to your companion using your own hit points. Your Drake can move and act in tandem with the Ranger during their turn. Ranger and Drake both have reactions each round. In addition, you can target your Drake separately with a sustained power. Tapping mana separately from your companion, you can sustain a power for yourself and your pet, combined up to the maximum rank. I feel like I just want to fold the Drake Warden into Beastmaster and just have Drake be an option for something that you can summon as a Beastmaster. Like, I can have a Drake. Maybe we don't get access to the Drake until like 9th level. Maybe that makes sense. I kind of like that. Let's go look at the Drake Warden real quick. I really like that idea. So I want Ranger on both. We'll go with 2024 here, and we'll go with 2014 here. Let's go down to Drake Warden. Yeah, I don't feel like they should be separate classes. Drake Companion. So you feed a Drake that it can see hits a target with a weapon attack. The Drake infuses a strike with its essence, causing the target to take extra d6 damage to the type determined. And let's go look at the Beastmaster. Beast Strike. I feel like Beast of the Sky. Primal Bond, Beast Strike. Let's do this. Let's do it this way. This is going to be folded into Beastmaster, and we'll expand the list of beasts that can be summoned to include drakes, as well as large size creatures. creatures in general. Beast Companion features. We're going to rebuild the Beast list to include Drakes from Drake Warden, as well as large size creatures in general. 7 Twin Companions, shared power, exceptional training. In addition, you can now summon a large size companion. Twin Companions. At second rank, sustained power, you can summon and command a second companion. The power ends when you dismiss the pet, or it's reduced to 0. You can command a second companion. Only one companion can be size large. Magically summon a primal beast using one of those primal beasts, using one of the stat blocks. The companion can be size small or medium. Beast of land, beast of the sea, beast of the sky, or drake. Companion can be size small or medium. You also determine the kind of animal it is, choosing a kind of... I think it's goofy that they're allowing medium-sized creatures conditionally ride on medium-sized mounts. I know they're doing that to try to simplify the footprint on a game grid, but it feels fucking weird. Like a 150-pound dog is not going to be comfortable carrying a 200-pound human. Like it just does not make sense to me. So I'm trying to maintain that large, medium, small ratio. But yeah, we'll have to update the stat blocks. We'll have just to provide the stat box in general. But those are the modified beast. Ranger, beast, master, companion. Removing ranger, drake, warden. It just doesn't matter. Redundant, folded into beastmaster. Hey, what's up? Hey, Gabby. Doing well, thank you. We're just doing game design. We finished our most recent martial powers playtest in a mega dungeon from level 3 to 9. So now it's time to pause and reflect upon what we've witnessed. We've had a number of modifications to how powers work. I'm reducing the amount of powers that characters get access to sort of throttle in how much diversity and trouble they can cause with them. We modified how magic weapons work, and right now we're folding the Beastmaster and Drake Warden into the same class, just being a Beastmaster, because the Drake Warden doesn't need to be its own subclass. It's just a little dumb. Hey, what's up? I got an old YouTube short video back in my feed. Oh, Vicious Mockery was such. Right on. All right. So those are the changes that I want to make to the system right now. I need to go through the document. And like since we removed Double Strike, we removed Empowered Strike, we removed Cannibalized Power. Now we made these changes. I need to go, and we also changed the scaling of powers. I need to go through and make those changes to all of the subclasses, all the classes and subclasses that are impacted by these changes in powers. I'm not going to do that on screen with you guys, but I have a little bit of juice left in me. So I think what I want to do is let's peel open that new UA, and let's grab a subclass and mess around with it. So. Weave your tale in the Forgotten Realms, epic subclasses, write your legends in Faroon, closing a chapter on Sigil. Is this isn't the one. This is a commercial, right? Yeah. Where's the UA? Here it is. UA update. So let's pop this open. Okay, cool. Path of the Spiritual Guardian. So we're going to go up to Barbarian. Let's go find the Barbarian. Come on, guy. Here we go. And it is currently a Forsaken subclass just because it's in here. Path of the Ancestral Guardians. Soon to be Path of the... I don't like that change. Spiritual Guardians. Whatever. Okay, barbarians who walk the path of the spiritual guardians call upon spirits, whether bestial, spirit, or nature, spirit, departed ancestors, or spirits of raw elemental power. I do like that they're diversifying it, so it's not just ancestors. It can be any kind of bestial, any kind of spirit, elemental, whatever. When the barbarians rage, they contact the realm of the spirits and call them for their aid. Design notes. Path of the Spiritual Guardian update. Here are the main updates. Formerly Path of the Ancestral Guardian, since its last appearance in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Spiritual Protectors, formerly Ancestral Protectors, has been redesigned. The feature now splits the effects from the original feature along with new effects as options that hit creatures while the rage is active. I like that. Spirit Shield now scales with your rage damage bonus. Vengeful Spirits, formerly Vengeful Ancestors. Okay, cool. I think I'm probably going to enjoy this. So let's go through. As usual, we go through the powers first to see what we get, and then we start backfilling the bonus powers that we get as well. So this is going to be called Spiritual Protectors. I'm fine with updating this. So Spiritual Protectors. While you're raging, your rage summons spectral warriors to your aid while your rage is active. While your rage is active, when you hit a creature, with a weapon attack, because we fold unarmed and natural attacks into just weapon attacks in general. Let's see. I think I'm going to like this. While your rage is active, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, it becomes the target
of the spirits which
cause one of the following effects of your choice, period. Distract. Protect. Strike. The target takes 1 power die of damage, which can be acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, it takes 1 power die of damage, which can be any damage, which can be any. Let's go to our list. Which can be any alternate, is that what it's called? Alternate damage? Alternate, which can be any alternate damage, which can be any basic alternate damage type listed above, starting at 5th level. This can be any basic or advanced alternate damage type listed. This can be any advanced alternate damage type as well. So, at 3rd level, when we first get access to that, when we hit something, it'll take an extra die of damage. Excuse my eye here for a second. Ugh. Glurp. So at 3rd level, it could be acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. And then at 5th level, it could be force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder damage. So we're giving you the full. We're giving you the full palette. But it's force as written. Force damage is the only force and thunder. Is that right? Yeah, force and thunder are advanced damages that we don't get until 5th level. But we give you a wider amount of basic elemental damage types, and then we can upgrade to any advanced damage type later. I like that decision better. And protect, how does that do? Until the end of the target's next turn, the next time it hits a creature other than you with an attack roll, that creature has resistance to the damage dealt to the attack. Protect. Until the end of the target's next turn, when it hits a creature other than you, the target gains resistance to the damage of that attack. Until the start of your next turn. Until the beginning of your next turn. Until the start of your next turn. Until the start of your next turn. The target has disadvantage. Attack. Has disadvantage. Attack. rolls against targets other than you or other barbarians. You or another barbarian that has this feature. Interesting. Okay. I'm content with that. Spirit Shield. Your guardian spirits can provide supernatural protection to those you find while your rage is active. While your rage is active. When another creature you can see within another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce the damage by the amount you can use. You can take a reaction to reduce that damage. Determine the amount of damage is reduced by. Roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. Rage damage bonus. D6 rage damage bonus. Let's see how that is. Rage damage bonus. Scroll up. I like that scaling. I was looking for scaling. That makes more sense. 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually, no, that's the number of rages. Rage bonus is 2, 3, 4. 2d6, 3d6, 4d6. Nah. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Sixth level is 2d6. Ninth level is 3d8. 17th level is 3d10. I like that better. 4d10. If your rage is active, when another creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by the amount listed below. 4d6 versus 4d10. I think 4d10 is pretty good. 46 isn't bad, but I like the scaling better. So we're just going to ramp it. That's what we do around here. Consult the spirits. You gain the ability to consult with your guardian spirits. When you do so, you can cast the augury or clairvoyant spell without expending mana, using your channeling ability modifier for the spells. After you cast either spell this way, augury 2 mana, clairvoyance 3. Rather than creating a spherical sensor, this use of clairvoyance invisibly summons one of your guardian spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spellcasting. When you cast clairvoyance this way, instead of summoning a censor, you summon a spirit creature to observe at the destination, at the target location. Good enough. Vengeful Spirits. Vengeful Spirits. When you make an attack roll with a melee weapon as part of your attack action, roll 18 to 20 on D20. You can make one additional attack roll with the same weapon as part of that action. You can make one additional attack roll with the same weapon. That's an interesting feature. And use... Huh. Make an attack roll with a melee weapon. Yeah, okay. I'll let it drive. I think I'm fine with that. When you make an attack roll, fine. When you make an attack, when you make an attack roll, when you make a weapon attack roll, the attack, as part of the attack action, and roll 18 to 20. I like this language. I like seeing this language. And roll 18 to 20. Huh. When you make a weapon attack roll as part of the attack action, roll 18 to 20. On the D20, I'm not 100% on that feature. You can make an additional attack with the same weapon. As part of the same attack. As part of that action. As part of that action. You can't do so again until you start your next turn. Can't do so again until the start of your next turn. That one's okay. I'm not 100% on that one. What time is it? It's noon. Okay, so I've been at this for like 2.5 hours. Almost 3 hours. We got the updates that I wanted. I now need to go back through and update all the other classes with the changed scaffold and get rid of the bonus powers that are now redundant, that have been eliminated. I think when we come back, I'm going to do this again next Saturday. I'm going to be doing this for the next, probably through November. And then we'll start, and then hopefully we'll have enough people that are interested in playtesting the Mage Tower sport as a combat. Join up on my Discord channel down below. And this entire document is going to be available for people to use to build athletes and to try to kill each other or score points on the goal by attacking it. So there's two ways. Well, I mean, after you kill everyone, it's really easy for you to score a goal, and then the period ends, and then everyone gets back all their hit points again, and they're ready to go. So you could prioritize killing each other, or you could prioritize scoring points. Either way, if you don't want to get killed, score points quickly. If you just want to kill everyone and then casually score points, you can do that as well. Yeah, I think I'm content here. Oh, and then the Drake Ward, we need to fold that all up. Battle Rager, that should be fine. Yeah, okay, that's where I'm going to go ahead and stop for today. Imagine being... You never lived up to the potential that Mr. Rogers... That's great. Man, okay, thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate y'all. Anyone that's new to the channel checking this out, I do artwork Monday through Fridays in the morning before I go to my day job. On Mondays and Thursday nights, I do campaign. I do DM work, campaign development. We're creating an Eberron Spelljammer bashing campaign with Mecha fighting Mega Kaiju. You can check that out on Monday and Thursday nights. And then right now, Saturday morning through November 2025, we're going to be continuing developing martial powers and integrating, looking at the new subclasses that were built and integrating those into the document. I have Strixhaven Mage Tower rules. They're on my Discord channel. You can look at this. You can look at this set of rules by linking to it through the Strixhaven Mage Tower channel on my Discord, which is linked down below as well. Check out my books, especially the Color Mana System. That's linked down below. It has a 100% free preview. All the artwork and design ideas are my own. I've used the Color Mana System in 2 complete 1 to 20 campaigns, as well as a number of smaller vignette campaigns like level 1 to 5, 3 to 7, 16 to 20, and now 3 to 10. They all work really freaking great. And yeah, like and subscribe. And thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I really appreciate you. Cheers.